We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
Homelessness once again is rampant in Los Angeles and California, and it all seems to be a bit of a mystery. Now, do we need to call in Scooby-Doo or Sherlock Holmes to solve it? I don't think we do. We have with us Liberty Nation's political columnist, Joe Schaefer, who has written extensively on the subject, to join us and find the answers. Thanks for coming in, Joe.
Thank you, Mark.
So, Joe, as we know, it's pretty much everywhere, isn't it, now that the homelessness issue in Los Angeles and other California cities is getting out of control. And it seems that elements on the left are stumped as to why this might be. But you, with your quick thinking and industrious detective techniques, have figured out the answer, haven't you, Joe?
Yeah, it was a really brilliant deduction. They are being deliberately obtuse, which is not a surprise. They have agenda to pursue, and illegal immigration, supporting, embracing illegal immigration as part of that agenda. And they do not want to recognize that that is fueling the homelessness problem. And the article I wrote about Los Angeles, they went out of their way to present it like it's a major mystery. Why is this happening? Why are we having this? I think it was a 10% rise in homelessness recently. And of course, the population was huge to begin with. Well, at the same time, they're officially codifying into city law their sanctuary status, encouraging more and more illegal aliens to pour into the city. And they know that this is the result. If you dig deeper, if you find their official homelessness department, they have talked about how illegal aliens are more prone to be homeless. So they know it. And yet they say, oh, it's a mystery. We don't understand. And don't scapegoat illegal aliens. Don't say that they're more likely to be homeless, even though they know that that is true. So it's a deliberate attempt to not solve the problem and then wring their hands and saying, boy, this is a vexing problem. It's really outrageous to the citizens who have to suffer for this.
Well, that's got to be my question, really. Why are the citizens putting up with it? Because they must know. It's not as though this is a big secret, right? It's not. Joe, I loved your article on the pages of libertynation.com, but it was not in any way a surprise to me that the homelessness situation is being driven up and exacerbated and sucking the resources that they've assigned to the homelessness situation by having mass illegal immigration and then providing sanctuary, providing resources for these unfortunates who don't have the support network within the country. Essentially, the state stepping in to take over the role that family and friends in a community would normally have, which is a whole other issue. But it's not a surprise. It wasn't a surprise to me at all. Unfortunately, I loved the article, but it wasn't a surprise to me that the answer is, well, more illegal immigration, more homelessness. So why don't the people of Los Angeles, who are the ones bearing not only the societal brunt of this, but the crime brunt, the safety brunt, the lack of resource or resources being put somewhere else brunt of this whole thing, why are they not seemingly aware of it? Or are they? And they just would prefer not to have a Republican in charge? Or am I being too political on that?
No, but it's right around the corner, because this is not sustainable. When you're having a city crumble, it's become unlivable, Los Angeles. The streets are unsafe to walk on. I don't care how progressive you are as a LA resident. Once it gets to the point where you can't leave your house, even during the day, you're going to say you've had enough. And it's interesting that we're seeing this in Chicago right now, where Black residents of Chicago who normally support progressive candidates because they, for political reasons that benefit them, they have seen this SOP to illegal aliens and how it is destroying the city. They live in the city too, and it's unsustainable. And you are seeing a backlash. You're seeing Black Chicagoans saying, what about us? Why do you put illegal aliens ahead of us? Which is, of course, what American citizens have been saying throughout the country for years now. It's finally hitting home into these urban areas that encouraged this greater swath of progressivism. The chickens are coming home to roost. You're going to have to live with this now. It's not sustainable. And so the people who support these progressive policies are going to turn away from this. We're seeing it in Chicago right now. We're seeing it in San Francisco in a very interesting way. Another article I just wrote, as the San Francisco Chronicle, big box establishment newspaper, surprised that they actually did it. They exposed how the open air drug market in San Francisco, which has made that city unlivable again, is controlled by Honduran migrants, young male Honduran migrants who pour into the city. So, it's coming out.
Let's just point out, by the way, that they're noticeable because they're often armed with machetes or knives. Isn't that correct?
Literally said that in the article. They're armed with machetes. So, how progressive do you have to be as a San Francisco citizen to put up with machete-armed Honduran drug dealers? You can only push the envelope so far, and these politicians have really. They've extended it to the point where something's going to break.
You keep saying, Joe, that this is unsustainable, and yet it seems to me that it will continue regardless. So what is the end point here? That we see even more of an exodus from these deep blue urban centers? Or where does this movie finish, in your opinion?
In my opinion, this is all deliberate. If you were going to destroy a country from within, destroying the cities is a great way to start. How can anybody say that this is just incompetence or mistakes when they are literally destroying America's greatest cities? They're uninhabitable. They're having the massive flight out of these areas. Which is a huge loss in tax revenue. So you're going to run out of the money to even try to solve these problems, which, as we've pointed out, they're not sincerely trying to do in the first place. So you're destroying the major cities of the United States. There is an effort on this. The Biden administration is leading the way. Anthony Blinken went to a summit in Denver earlier this year that says we are using the cities of the West to establish a global transnationalism, the idea of countries working together, not in their own national interest. So you're seeing this cities are a focal point of an agenda. And part of the agenda is create chaos, create problems, and create trouble. So you can say we have to have radical solutions to this problem, which is globalism, which is socialism, which is all these things that they're pushing. So I truly believe the rot is intentional. And if the citizens of these cities who are progressive, if they don't step up, it's only going to keep getting worse because the people doing this want it to get worse.
It's the old problem reaction solution that David Icke, the British, I guess many people call him the conspiracist. The British conspiracist says, create a problem, evoke a reaction, and then present the solution that you wanted all along. Joe Schaefer, thank you ever so much for joining us today. And please do read Joe's writings on this topic on the pages of LibertyNation.com. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
Don't get caught up in the media madness. Join our movement for free thinking and free speech at LibertyNation.com. Publishing news and analysis 24/7 with original articles by our team of authors who tell it like it is. Join us each week for online TV shows, The Uprising Podcast, and Liberty Nation Radio. We believe in free thinking and free speech. We are LibertyNation.com.